Hey there.
Joe, can you hear us now?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, great. All right, we're gonna start. Hello, everyone. This is Chuck Taroni, Reading's Conservation Administrator. This meeting will be conducted in person and remote format consistent with Chapter 2 of the Act of 2023, which further extend certain COVID-19 measures regarding remote participation in public meeting until June 30th, 2027. Please note, not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items listed may not be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. This agenda includes those matters which can be reasonably anticipated to be discussed at tonight's meeting. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. All materials are available at the Conservation Commission page. And Brian Bowe is the commission chair, and he will facilitate tonight's meeting. Please note that there will be a public comment period at the end of each hearing. And each vote taken at tonight's meeting will be conducted by roll call. Brian, can you please review tonight's agenda and do a roll call vote?
Okay. Vote the order of 7:03. I'll do attendance first. This is the order that we will vote in.
Walter Talbot, member, present.
Sure.
Recording in progress.
Present. Tim.
Tim Michelle, member present.
Rick Keel, member present.
Martha Moore, vice chair present.
Brian Bowe, chair, present. And Joe, the questions, will have you come in somewhere between these two.
No worries. Joseph Fleury, associate member present.
Okay, review the agenda. First, we have continuation of public hearing on notice of intent for 43 Arcadia. That will be continued at the time. That's it for our hearings tonight. And then we have a couple of discussion/vote items. Minor plan change of Family Circle and an update on tree removal at Matera Cabin. And then some old new business. The usual conservation staff DPW meeting update, violation notices, administrative report, minutes for approval, and that's it. We should be done by 7:20. Okay, let's get right to it. So as I said, 43 Arcadia. For the applicant's request, we need to get a motion for continuation. What date did they want?
It's April 8th.
So can I have a motion to continue 43 Arcadia to April?
I'll make a motion to move 43 Arcadia Ave to April 8th for the applicant's request.
Walter Talbot seconds. Walter Talbot's in favor.
Chirag Stilicker in favor.
Tim Michelle, in favor.
Rick Keel in favor.
Martha Moore in favor.
Brian Bowe in favor. Okay, next is a minor plan change at 23 Family Circle. Chuck, do you want to walk us through that?
I believe we have people here for that. Let me get this out of the way. So start reading who's here. I think Lisa Gallow's here for that.
Okay.
Yep.
And Andrea. So let me just bring them up.
Is this the ADU at the end of the cul-de-sac?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, across from the town forest.
Are you guys able to turn on your screens? And it's Lisa also, right?
Yeah, this is Andrea. I can speak on behalf of MBA and the homeowner tonight.
Okay.
But yes, Lisa is also a representative.
Sure. So next question, do you want to put the changes on the screen, or do you want me to do that?
Sure, let me see.
So this is the process, so we do the 3 steps. Is it a minor plan change? Is it amendment, or is it a new number of conditions? So just so you know what we're going into.
And Andrea Morelli, you said you represented
MBA Builders,
MBA.
who submitted the application on behalf of the homeowners.
Thank you.
Can you all see the screen? I can zoom in.
Yeah, that'd be better to get it. There you go.
Is that better? Okay. All right. So since our previous meeting, which if I remember correctly, I think was in January, we went back and in the process of kind of refining the design, we realized we had undersized the one-car attached garage and the ADU. In the intent of this dwelling is for the homeowner's parents to live there and age in place. And in doing so, as they get older and anticipated mobility issues set in, they will be largely entering and exiting the home from the garage, as the slab will be at the same level as the first floor of the or the main floor of the unit. And we realized that we had kind of undersized the garage to allow for you know, easy access to get in and out of a vehicle and maneuver around a vehicle with potential mobility issues, in the future. So we have come back and presented an updated plot plan, which shows the garage slightly increased from the previous submission, which in turn has slightly decreased our buffer. I believe previously, I have it, I can show you, it was 89 point something, and now we're down to 87 feet.
Yeah, I think it's clear on the plan. I'm not sure if everyone can see that on the screen, but on my laptop, I can see it.
Yeah, so our previous submission is shown in green here, and then the updated submission is red. We are still overall, again, we're still going for, as we remove the barn and the shed, we're moving further away from the buffer than the current condition. It's just slightly closer than the submission previously showed, where we were at this point instead of this new point.
Okay, anything else?
Nope, that's the only change.
Okay. Any comments, questions from the commission?
Just one thing for accuracy, I think on the right-hand side, you have a calculation for the impervious area. I think that is not updated for the new sizing. I think just for accuracy, I think you should update that as well.
Oh, over here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna say, I think that's a very insignificant change. So I think minor plan change might be appropriate. Remind us what the 3 levels were again?
Yeah, so we have in our regulations, so everything comes in under a minor plan change. So if you think that that's so insignificant that there's no change, then what ends up happening is we catch it when they submit an as-built plan. So what Shrek just asked for will come in on the as-built plan. We'll have updates of impervious. And so this is just a letter saying that we agree. And the next step would be an amended order of conditions. So I usually think of that as why would I want to amend the order? And so that's probably the biggest bucket, because we want most things to fit into that, because we don't want to deny the project and have them file a whole new order of conditions. But that would be, for me, the trigger would be generally the same project, but people would want to know about the change. So because it's everything that happens on a notice of intent, except there's no application. So they'd have to notify the newspaper and all the abutters to come in and have a say. So let's say this was a tighter lot and the garage was swapped to the other side. Everyone on that side of the house might want to say something about that change. So that would probably be an amendment. This here, again, I think that it's pretty clear that there's not much of a change happening here, and there's a huge lot that we're dealing with.
Yeah, so in my opinion, this does not rise to the level of amended order of conditions.
Yeah, And I guess, you know, the last one would be a notice of intent if it was so different that we would require a new notice of intent.
So is anybody here who doesn't agree with the lowest level in minor plan change?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a motion to approve the minor plan change?
Yes, you want to approve, but we want to just, in the motion, just say that we would like updated plans. And if there's any other conditions that you want.
Well, yeah,
So then the,
yeah, just the updated plan.
Fixing the percentages.
That's it.
Fixing the percentages, updated plans.
okay, I'll make a motion to approve the plan with updates to the document with the impervious area added,
So that's a minor plan change.
a minor plan.
Second?
Walter Talbot seconds that.
Chirag Talekar in favor.
Rick Keo in favor.
Martha Moore in favor.
Walter Talbot's in favor.
Brian Bowe in favor. Okay,
So, yeah, you're all set, Andrea. I'll send out a letter and you're gonna send me a check, right?
Yes, yeah, or we'll drop it off for you, Chuck, in the next couple days. Sorry, can I ask one question? So we never I never recorded the previous order of conditions because I wasn't sure the procedure, so we should go ahead, record that. And then this letter, like, does this letter have to be recorded or is it handled separately?
No, it just goes in the file. That's how insignificant this change is. So
Perfect.
you would record the order of conditions and you might have the pre-activity site inspection list from a different project. If you do want to make sure all those can be checked off except for 14 and 15.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, thank you all. I appreciate your
Thanks.
time.
Next is the update on the tree removal that's planned for Matera Cabin.
Sure, so the tree has been removed at Matera Cabin. It was broken. I sent the pictures around and not really leaning to the cabin, kind of leaning and needed to come down. We're very fortunate that the forestry department was able to do that work in-house. And I think they really tried to get it done in-house, and there was a lot of rigging going on that they had to do to get that tree down safely. So it all worked out, you know, trees down. I think it's been cleaned up somewhat. And so cleaning up the back there is the responsibility of Conservation Commission and the Trails Committee at some point, but not from this work. It's from all the work that has happened,
Yeah,
like
the
digging the
deck and
footings
everything
and
else.
building the
Is that
deck and all
something you're
that.
planning to do with your volunteer crew at all or no?
No, volunteers are gonna be pretty busy.
Okay, I just
We can
didn't-
talk about that later too, because there's another volunteer group coming in. I wanted to update Joe anyways, but
But does DPW assist with that with?
yeah, so our tree group, so it went out, I think, you know, Matera Cabin, everyone knows Matera Cabin now. It's been, you know, the
Famous.
school and the problems that we had through the building department. And so when I first got that, I did send it to facilities and Jane, the town, you know, the acting town manager. And then put everybody on the chain and just let everyone know. And we're very, like, I don't know if you noticed last week that the tree crews were out all the time. There was strong gusts and trees were coming down left and right. So they were really busy, but they were able to get to this like the following day. And
Surprising.
worked
That's
out.
Great.
yeah, very happy.
So a big thank you to Mike and Cruz.
I went and looked at the backyard of Matera Cabin, and what's left is like a eight-ish foot snag where it was ripped. That's the tree that fell.
That's
And
the
then
one.
there's some sawdust where they must have cut it up.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen the new stone dust path that goes from the back of the deck up to the parking lot before. I admired that path.
Yeah, it's nice. It's yeah. Get a good path. We want to continue working on it. I know when we get our new budget, because all the money's gone, we're going to be getting a few signs to do some wayfinding on those paths that are there now. But I'll present that to you in the future.
Anything else on that?
No, I just think that, it was a great, it was really, I mean, you know how much we paid $6,000 to get down one other tree another time, 6,000. So,
No, this was a big help.
big
plus.
help, yep.
Nobody got hurt.
That's always a good thing. Well, we don't know of anybody got hurt. Okay, next then we move to old new business. First item there is an encore for Chuck, talking about the conservation DPW coordination meeting.
So we just moved it to April 7th because I think I already talked about what happened at the meeting. I submitted all those projects that I discussed with the commission and with Mike, and yeah, we're just waiting for the next meeting. Mike was also there when we looked at a couple of C-click fixes. Tree issues and conservation issues come in on C-click fix, building and other things like health and planning come in on OpenGov. So there's a lot of action on my computer, keeping those straight, but I think we're all set with the DPW until our next meeting.
All right, then violation notices, there's a new one to talk about, 21 Riverside Ave.
Yeah, so the Trails Committee was out kind of blazing a new trail or making sure the trail that they had blazed was in the right location now that we have the survey. And they noticed some bags of dog waste thrown into the conservation land, not just some, a lot. And they were entangled in probably what was knotweed. And so they sent me a picture, and they was very concerned about it because there was water source and wetlands close to it. And so I reached out, sent the letter around. I reached out and I got a letter back. And they said that the material has been cleaned up. So it's Guy Saziri. And so we thank you, Guy, for cleaning that up. Appreciate it. Not often does it happen with one letter, but much appreciated, and I'm glad that's all cleaned up. And so we're having a trail go in very close to this area. So this section of Pine Vale will now be exposed to a lot of people walking. And so that's one of the benefits of having a trail, is because you catch that yard waste dumping and other things.
So presumably Trails will let you know if there's any other issues.
Trails, residents,
Yeah.
conservation members,
I mean,
mountain bikers,
the Trails will know-
everybody.
Trails will know to look for that area, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was a lot there. It was pretty obvious. I don't think it was an area that was open to the public before. And
least not
this
in-
summer, that's the project that the volunteers are going to be doing.
Okay.
So we're gonna remove this from the violation notice.
Done deal.
I think this was the quickest one ever to be removed.
That's in my time, certainly.
Very impressive.
And the opposite end of the spectrum, 445 Pearl Street. I said I would swing by, and I did. That slope has sod laid down in it. Obviously, it's not growing yet, but he's put down sod. He has some significant erosion tracks running down the slope. At least some of them go full top to bottom. So it's obviously not fully stabilized yet. It's the usual question about next steps. I mean, personally, I would like to stop by the house and try and catch him and talk to him and be sure he's aware that that needs to be addressed. I don't want him thinking that he put down the sod and he's done. I don't know if you think that kind of communication is sufficient in this case, or should be a letter.
No, I would stop by. He seems to respond to that.
Okay.
And maybe reach out first if I could reach out and just say they'd like to stop by. Are we ready to do that now or in the next couple of weeks when it gets a little bit warmer and
He already has an erosion problem, so he might as well be aware he's gonna
Right
have
away.
to deal with
okay.
it. As far as whether the sod takes or not, that's an ongoing thing and watch.
I drove by also and noticed that there's quite a strong current in the stream at the bottom, but there are coir logs on either side, so that part looks good. I didn't like the look of the north slope. I didn't see any grass, sod, or
You're right.
anything on the
You're right.
north bank of that stream,
It's
so
just
that
the south
needs
bank I
work.
was looking at, you're right.
Yeah.
Right, she's not done. Okay, administrative report. Chuck, you had a couple things to talk.
Yeah, so off Mill Street, we got a call from the DPW that the Elderberry Lane, I don't know the facilities that's there, but I believe it's Elder Care Place.
Yeah,
Is that what it is?
55 plus
55 plus
and disabled.
and disabled. And so they had lost a couple of telephone poles down this area behind Elderberry Lane, which is a paper street off of Mill Street. And so the DPW let me know that they're calling it an emergency and that the fire department also would chime in if needed. And so I felt like it was sufficient to just say, there's a wetland down there somewhere. It's about 50 feet away from where that paper street is. And I said, yeah, you can go in there. It's an emergency. I didn't feel like it needed an emergency permit, just administrative approval. So that's what ended up happening, because they weren't going through a wetland. They weren't cutting trees down to get to this place. It was an established open roadway. I'm gonna call it a roadway, but that might be stretching it a lot. It's kind of like a cart path that trees haven't grown in the cart path area yet. They needed to get down to about Elderberry Lane area to start putting in some telephone poles so they would have 911 service. So that took about a day. And what they ended up doing is dropping in several truckloads of 5+ inch stone. And then they drove on top of that and that all got worked into the mud.
Chuck, do you know if they're gonna actually finish that roadway at all with some finer grit stone? I guess member of the Trails Committee was talking with a couple of neighbors over there, and there's been some complaints with that temporary road, but I know they needed access for emergency services, but is there any additional work expected on that road?
So under the permission that they got from the Conservation Commission, which only would be for about a little more than a third of the road, it was temporary for emergency purposes only, and no one has reached out and said there's other work anticipated. And as my understanding, the DPW did that work to help out Reading Municipal Light. So as far as continuing any kind of work, that's a new conversation, a new request for the DPW. Yeah, I've heard about that also, and but hadn't had an opportunity. I mean, I could certainly bring it up, but so could the Trails Committee and bring that up, through the DPW, through Mike Hessman.
Sure. Okay.
That road was in fact passable by cars up to about 40 years ago when they put in the development that is now Sanborn Lane and Lila Lane, etc. And there are houses on the other end of that road that have deeded right of way to travel on that road. So it hasn't always been only a cart path. It was in fact a road, a dirt road. And it is now blocked with 2 Jersey barriers and a chain across. So they have,
After the work?
after the work, whoever did the work has blocked the end facing Mill Street with a pair of Jersey barriers and a chain.
Yeah.
So no vehicles can go down there at this point.
Yeah, Joe, I think that if we wanted to put a path or a trail out there, or anyone who wanted to do that work would need to get the permission of all the abutters to do that.
Yeah, no, it was actually more about the integrity of the road with the 5-inch stones, and making it even more impassable than it was previously. So I was just curious if there was any follow-on work from DPW, not turning it into an actual road or a path or anything
I
like
thought
that.
I understood from what Chuck said that the stones, for the most part, got pushed down into the mud. So that should be passable. I mean, maybe not in a Volkswagen, but
I can't speak to it. I would have to see it. This is secondhand from trails, so
Well, I went out there after the work was finished and I walked on the stones, so you can definitely walk on them. I
okay.
don't know if I would take my, my, I don't know,
Mountain bike.
Corvette down there or something like that.
I don't think you'd want to take your mountain bike down it either.
Yeah, it's probably pretty rough, and I bet you there's ruts in it and all that. And I don't know what the finish is going to be, and if there is going to be a finish. But the point for the commission is, and Joe, I didn't hear about anything about extending it, but the point for the commission is, it was an emergency job. This is exactly what happens if someone, needed to finish more work out there. Well, it's not an emergency, so where it
They have
goes
to come
past
to
the wetland, we would have to review it through a permit.
yeah, at this point, all we did was give them emergency access to do the work.
Yeah,
Anything else would be an official project.
yeah.
That's good.
I don't know if it was so official that I mean, the call was, you're pretty far away, you're staying on what looks like an established
Right,
road,
it-
cart
you're
path.
right. It wasn't an emergency permit or anything, it was your approval.
Okay.
All right, then next is minutes for approval. We did get 2 new ones, but we got them Friday. So I don't think we should vote on those tonight. Typically it's Thursday, or we don't vote on things the next week, so next meeting. So you have till the 7th to read that if you haven't.
Unless everybody has already read them.
I didn't read them. I haven't read
You
them.
did not yet. Okay. So
And-
next time.
And you plan to?
Yep.
Good. Just checking. Actually, one of them was one of our short, it was her heroic half-hour meeting. It's an easy read.
I
Okay,
think they were both pretty short.
yeah, they both were. And speaking of which,
You have a minute for 30 minutes.
anything else we should discuss before we adjourn? Pretty much when I guessed.
I'd like to bring up an issue for next meeting, since it's not on the
Do you
agenda.
wanna go over that?
Oh, Jesus, right, never mind, I lied. I slipped the big top. Go ahead.
Oh, good. Is there something else?
Yeah, we have to talk about the fees.
Oh, do that first. Because I'm recommending something for the
Yeah,
next
you
meeting.
know, it just threw me, it wasn't on here, so I didn't read it. So I'm gonna blame you, whether it's true or not. Okay, do you want to bring up the spreadsheet first? We had a conversation in the last meeting,
Yep.
and we went over the numbers in excruciating detail. I went back to it in the interim and I put in a row. I figured out what the average inflation rate was between the last time it was updated and now. It was 2.39-ish%. So the total for the 14 years is 39% and change. I applied that to all the current numbers. And of course, you get uneven numbers and everything. So then I put in another row where I did propose from that number, something that was close to it as the proposed changes. So that's not the right one. Yes, it is. That just looks different on the screen. All right, so here's the row where I just did the calculation with the percentages. And here's the current one, line 3, line 5 is the ones I'm suggesting. You can see here, it calculates to 103 and change. I suggested 100. and so on right across. For some of you folks who felt that we were maybe pushing things too high last time, you'll be happy to know that with these calculations, a number of them will come down. So what I'm hoping here is people look at this and go, it's much more to my taste, and we can approve these numbers, but please obviously take a look.
Brian, these were all the ones that we had all agreed on, like, Chuck, you're shaking your head. These are new. These are new. Oh,
New and lower.
No, different numbers, same categories.
okay.
So the spreadsheet's exactly the same, except that the numbers are different.
So you're suggesting basing our new numbers on the inflation rather than on the numbers we voted on last time?
That's a proposal. I mean, you know my perspective, that I wouldn't mind it being higher. What I want, though, is numbers that the commission can wholeheartedly support. And the fact that we can justify it by pointing to math, I think is a plus. But believe me, if people want to go back to some numbers that are higher, no argument from me.
I think the other numbers were based on the hours of review. And then the new sheet that I don't think is up here. So we had two things. It was my hours that we reviewed it under, and then the percentage, which we didn't want to go over a certain percent, like 100% was too much. So we backed off a little bit. So I think those were the two criteria that we tried to apply to each one. So
Yeah.
they all seem to be able to go higher.
Could we add a row of what we had approved from last meeting,
Can,
just to see what it looks like?
Chuck, do you have my numbers?
I do have Walt's numbers. Want to start with Walt, or you want to pull up mine? I don't know if I can do magic here. So Brian, you can pull everything up if you want and just sign in if you want to. I think he's the ace over here, but let me get Walt's up.
Even if we could flip between one spreadsheet and another, that would also be
Probably the
okay.
easiest way to do it. Trying to find. There it is.
Because I have the numbers we agreed to,
Yeah, oh, I have those also, but let me get,
but
just bring
I
yours
have
up.
my-
You might as well want to talk about what you spent all that time on, right?
the 5-10 minutes it was.
Yeah,
That's a lot of time.
it's billable.
Do you want to talk about it while Chuck's finding the other numbers? Oh, you got it quickly.
Oh, this must be yours right here. So. let me get this
Okay, so the ones in red are the new ones, right? Can you just
The
click,
ones in the red were the ones from last meeting.
right, so can you click on the number 3 there? That'll highlight the row.
Number 3.
Yeah. Okay, now do Control C, which is copy. Then go to the other spreadsheet.
You need to enable editing, I think.
I think that should be okay.
No, you just copy, you're not
Oh,
changing
copying
anything.
isn't editing.
All right, so,
And I'll go to the other one.
oh, yours? Yeah.
Let me just go and insert a line there, so.
Insert a line under
Well, let's
proposed
get, let's
reading?
get to it first, because,
No, just look here, Brian,
Oh,
because
okay.
I'll have to like come off and,
yeah,
I'm gonna enable editing.
No, he's looking at the other spreadsheet.
Says you don't have to edit.
so yeah,
Copy.
just, well, it doesn't, I just.
He's
put it-
editing the
Put
other
it in the
spreadsheet.
top.
Sure.
Exactly, me too.
And you do that by doing,
I know that good stuff.
there, and you click on the first cell and do Control V,
On the number or the,
in the cell itself.
Isn't he still working on the same spreadsheet?
No,
He is
no,
up here, but down here.
hold on a
it's-
second, guys. Like, this is like magic stuff.
No,
going on
so,
with
so now
Brian.
we added that line, so they'll be on top of each other.
Nice.
That's
So
keep-
can
You
we,
can just like,
yeah,
There's Joe.
We just
I
gave
think this is the one we
Reading as a
just
whole.
did.
a view into how technically challenged we are. You got it. Okay, so. 25 lower, 25 lower. 50 lower.
Than what we
25 lower,
voted.
so they're lower. And so, believe me, if people wanted to go to the old one, that we all been the ones we agreed to last meeting, I'm on board with that. I was just trying to have something mathematical to be able to justify it.
Interesting, the SFNOI,
Yeah,
your new math gives it 800 and our old math, we voted on 750. So that one's actually a little higher.
G.
I
SFNOI.
got column G, but I'm looking for my, oh, there, 824, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that category does not keep up with inflation. But it's all right.
okay.
I think we had a
so-
lot more conversation on the ANRAD, and I think there was another column as well. And
1.25 and this is now
150.
the suggested 150.
I mean, I'm okay with the old one. Chuck, what's your take on this?
You know, both are fine. To be honest with you, I thought we had agreed at the last meeting, and I said that to Brian. So, there are a few numbers that went up, like this, the ANRAD one looks like it's got 1,500 instead of 1,200. And the 800 that Martha pointed out, but they're higher, but they're not. I don't feel like they're crazy, like
Not
the
exactly.
commercial RDA is going to be 200 based on last meeting. And just a regular RDA is 125 rather than 75. Those seem to be pretty reasonable numbers, based on my time, and I think so it looks like Brian's saying 100 and we're doing 125 based on my time, so one's based on
Just inflation.
just inflation. And so both work, both are up. We've been asked to look at them, but I would somehow go with what we discussed. We discussed each one at the last meeting, unless we want to discuss each one again tonight.
I'll make a motion to stick with the first set of lining that we all agreed on as a commission.
Okay.
Anybody want to second that?
Second.
Okay, fine, we're good.
Any discussion? Can we do discussion?
Sure.
Okay.
Does Walt want to talk about his before we
does.
do that?
Okay.
Yeah, let's not have a motion right now.
Okay.
All right. And let's see what we got here.
So he's bringing up
Sorry, I have to keep doing
something you
that.
did, Walter? Is that what he's bringing up?
But I
now?
did like how you put the inflation in that helped us.
Mhm.
What
put it in
I
perspective.
want is something the commission as a whole can
Mhm.
stand behind, so when people ask, why is this higher?
Mhm.
They can say, it's math.
Yeah.
Mhm.
People can do the math themselves and come on the same ball.
So this is Walt's spreadsheet?
Yeah.
My approach was basically, what was the most that any town was charging? And then averaging out the choice towns, the other towns. We shouldn't be the highest, but there's no reason we can't be above the average. So my proposal was somewhere between the average and the highest. Because if you're building a $50,000 deck, whether your bogey is gonna be 150, 250, 350, or 500, makes no difference. It's the law of small numbers. That's my opinion, but I didn't choose any specific numbers. I'm just saying, I would have something fall somewhere between the average and the max.
So the average choice on the minimum RDA, we have 125. That's what we agreed on. You're saying 105.
105 is the average for everybody else.
We can,
So
do you come up with a suggestion for us?
I would say 150.
Oh, so you didn't do that though.
No, I didn't. No,
Okay.
this is a group discussion.
Right, so you just came up with the averages and then we can,
I would think either the number should be somewhere between the average and the max.
so you've just done some math and done 60% and been done all for you.
I believe in democracy.
Democracy can have math.
In other words, I'm willing to listen to your opinion.
Yeah, okay.
So, single-family RDA and commercial RDA, our proposal last week did not even make it to average for either of those, according to Walter's chart.
Hmm.
Average was 263 or 233, and we were only going for 125. So the first category, we are above average. The next two, we're below.
So without trying to turn this into a math geek convention, I think the problem with using an average here is that there are some towns that look like real outliers. And so I'm afraid that they would skew the numbers. So a mean, I think, would be more applicable than an average.
Aren't they the same?
No.
A mean and an average?
No.
Or do you mean
do you mean?
median?
You mean median?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
You're
median.
right, the middle number.
Median,
Yeah.
okay.
I just think that that might smooth out some of the ones that are much higher.
I did not include anything that was zero.
Well, at least this is
That helps.
a kind of a method that I'm familiar with. Towns, peer communities and other communities, find the average, then discuss it. So it almost looks like by putting what we agreed on at the top and then being able to discuss what Walt has added to the spreadsheet, seems like that's a pretty easy discussion. We could just run through that real quickly.
Let's do it.
If anyone wants to do that. So on the first one, so administrative review, I don't know what that would, to me, that would mean when someone comes in who doesn't have a permit and I talk about their project. I don't think we need to take a charge for that. And so far, there hasn't been any pushback on us going out to site visits and talking to people that don't have a permit and they just want to find out what to do. So let's leave that one alone.
I disagree. I think administrative review includes the people who want to cut down up to 4 trees, and you have to approve that, and it never comes before us.
Yeah, the tree stuff.
Yeah, and I
We
think,
worked on that with the tree permit.
yeah, and I think it's not unreasonable to charge something for a tree permit.
We already passed the tree permit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, so we made it much clearer what the decision-making process is, and we did adjust some numbers, right? So.
okay, but there's no actual fee to submit the permit in the first place. It's only the fee if you don't choose to replace the trees? Is that what
It's
we
also an
decided?
Yeah, there
optional
is- there
thing.
is
If you
no
throw
fee.
$50 on top of that, I don't think people are gonna
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it,
offer to pay the $250.
I don't think
Yeah.
it doesn't add much,
That's just my opinion.
doesn't add much
Oh,
income
the tree
to the
companies.
coffers.
Yeah,
This is
It probably
nothing.
doesn't happen
yeah.
that
Oh,
often.
yeah, but the homeowners, it would be,
Reasonable, they're gonna go
you
ahead
know,
and do
you
it.
pay 50 on top of the 250 or.
Yeah, so I
Well-
think what's missed over the years, when we first did this tree policy, everyone who wanted to take down a tree had to come to the Conservation Commission and file an RDA. And that would have been the newspaper, the abutters notices, and then come to a meeting themselves. And so it was well received because a lot of people knew that that's what they had to do. We're several years away from that now, so really no one understands the savings
That's
that
huge.
we're offering here. But, bring it up, you can let them know that. That's why over 4, you have to come to the commission. It's the old policy. You have to come in. But, yeah, I think they're saving a lot. I mean, they're saving $250 for the newspaper ad right away. And then whatever notices that would go to the abutters, and that's either around $4 for certificates of mailing or $8 for green cars.
I'm just comparing it to a summer home I have on Cape Cod where I have to pay a fee every time I have to take down a diseased beech tree. And it's a fee just to submit the request.
I'm looking at it like, say, it's an optional 250 fee. If you're gonna add a 50 on top of that, people will pay the 50 and they won't pay the 250.
Well, there's two ways not to
You don't
pay,
have to pay it.
not to pay
Yeah.
anything to the commission for
Right.
our review. So if you want to be, if you want to pay for my time, when they purchase trees to replace the tree that they're cutting down, the town doesn't get paid for their review. When they're leaving snags, the town doesn't get paid for their review. Only when they're,
Actually cutting it.
paying for trees that to be planted elsewhere would they,
But if you're cutting 4 down and you don't have to replant them, then
you're gonna pay for those trees to be planted somewhere else. Then you're paying the town. But the two other ways, we do have to do as much review and they can decide not to. So it does have some, good qualities to say, hey, there's a $25 fee, it's a $50 fee. But it's up to the commission.
Okay, so we've heard both sides of that. Can I just see?
And we've already passed that, so that's not, it's not even part of this here.
Okay, that's fine then.
It's, as a matter of fact, it should be up any day.
And we did pass the $50. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's not in red.
Oh. So it's proposed, but
I don't
not-
see that as the same as what you're talking about. This is when someone comes to the counter or we go
Right.
on a site visit, they would have to pay us.
The tree policy stuff.
Tree
Okay,
policy is, unfortunately, it is finished.
okay, fine.
I think if someone goes to the counter and finds out they have to pay $50, they're gonna lose their mind. That's just, you come in to ask the town that people are already paying taxes to, that you ask a question, you have to pay $50 to ask the
No.
question?
No,
Well, that's-
asking a question is not what I'm saying.
Well, that's
I'm
like a
saying
review. It's like-
submitting a administrative approval form.
Right.
If you want to submit a form for administrative approval, similar to if I want to put in, let's say, new garden shed, not in a wetland, I have to submit it to the building department and get permission if my garden shed is a certain size. I think there's a fee associated with that permit. People are used to there being fees associated with permits. But I will drop that issue. I have beat
I
a
think it's
dead
perfect
horse.
for the tree policy, but
Yeah.
again, that was approved and it's not on the table tonight.
Okay,
The next one is the minor RDA, which is very general, projects, and, it looks like we agreed to 125 and, very general and for single family homes, and the mean is 105 and the high is 250. And it was 75 to 75, so
I'm comfortable with that.
I think the next one's very similar. We left it the same also, so I'm gonna say I'm moving on to commercial. And that looks like it's $300, and we said $200 at our last meeting. And people are charging $1,000 for a commercial RDA. I'm thinking,
Now, to us, a commercial RDA is anything other than a single family, right?
right,
So whether that's a multi-unit building or.
the biggest thing I could think
Two-unit
of would
townhouse.
be, let's say, a place like Carnation Circle wanted to repave, but they waited so long that they have to pulverize what's there, and they're going to expand, in certain areas. Like, let's say it gets a foot wider everywhere. They would, and we decided that that's not so much. It's pretty much the same job, and but we want an RDA.
Let me ask you this, what do you think the smallest job is that somebody would want to do? And is that very common? I mean, what's the smallest common job? What I'm trying to do is figure out how much that would
Well,
cost. to
smallest
feel
common
what-
jobs, I love putting these onto, a deck is pretty much an RDA. So because it has no footing, like a foundation. It has just like either precast or sonotubes.
Right, and a deck, I know it depends on the size and the material and what have you, but a deck is, what should we think of a deck? 25?
And up, yeah.
I know, but what do we think is typical? I'm trying to think about what is typical for somebody coming in the head saying, I'm planning on spending X, and all of a sudden there's some number on top of it. So if 25 is a number that people think are reasonable for, that's what a deck's gonna cost.
25,000?
Yeah,
Thank
So
you.
a deck is an hour's worth of review. It doesn't go to the DRT meeting, so it would only be my review and a site visit. So, and then a follow-up site visit to make sure it went in the right spot. So 3 of my hours.
And
So-
that would categorize under minor RDA?
Commercial.
Oh, we're now talking commercial RDA.
Well, wait a minute. We were talking about commercial, but I think the deck would not be commercial, so that's
yeah, that's
a
true.
regular one. So we're at 125, so that would be like 150. So I think we're in the ballpark, not a
Yeah.
problem. Commercial, we just talked about it. They can go crazy. You can have some new loading dock or something like
See,
that.
so in that case, 1,000 would be reasonable, but I'm trying to think of what the smallest project would be that somebody would wanna do that still counts.
For a
as
commercial site,
Yeah, a commercial or a DA. And just trying to figure out whatever number we do,
I
whether
think
that,
the smallest that I could think of, what I would be comfortable with is if they wanted to put a new business, puts a new sign in within the buffer zone.
yeah. And anybody put up signs, what would the sign cost? I mean, a business sign, 2 pedestals, something.
Well, yeah, I have to say that I don't think that's the way to think about this. I think we have to, so town council, based on
That's right. it's
other
big
project, we
hours.
have to pin it to hours of review and time spent,
Um,
you know. It can't be,
No, I get it.
it's reasonable, or how much time we're saving people.
Yeah, I was just mostly worried about having a number that puts projects out of the realm of the possible, so, okay.
So for the commercial RDA though, so is that just one additional extra hour of work, Chuck? Or how is that calculated into the difference here? And
If it
apologies, I
was-
did miss the last meeting, so
Well,
I
we're
don't.
only talking about, we're talking about the 2 extremes, so if it was the parking lot, no, there'd be multiple hours of work. There would be
Multiple site
several,
visits and-
you know, that would probably be something around 6 hours of work.
No, so let me clarify my question. Commercial RDA new 200, as single family RDA new 125. Is that 125 an hour or is that the
Total.
fee
No, it's a
total?
total
Got
fee. That's not the hours, that's the fees, and we figured out the fees by knowing what my rate was, which is around 50, and then how many hours it would take me to review, and then site visit to maintain, you know, what the commission asked for. You know,
Okay.
compliance.
So that commercial RDA is 1 to 2 additional hours of work compared to a single family RDA?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, if
Okay.
it's, you know, 1 to 2, so we have 3, it would be 3 additional hours, and those usually don't come in. The one that actually we could have got happened without anyone knowing it. Yeah. There was a project that was caught by the, engineering department, and it was mostly done.
Hmm.
It was paving.
So, what are we gonna do with that number?
Um,
Who's the town that's at 1,000?
that
Just
would
one
be,
single that's overweighting this thing? Last one.
yeah, it's always Lexington that seems to be the most expensive.
It's Watertown.
Just ban gas, leaf blowers.
It's Watertown. It looks like 50 to 1,000.
Well, the bottom
So now
line,
they're charging the batteries on a generator.
Yeah, they have a range, 50, I don't know, how do they figure out their
Just-
range
And, yeah, so that's how they.
based
have to do
on
it.
Maybe-
disturbance?
it may be based on how much work.
You
they
need to
think
charge
it's
a
gonna
bat?
take, and then they say it's this many dollars for that one.
Do you
Okay.
want, so maybe? Yeah, so what's the thing? Let's not,
Can I suggest we make that one 250 instead of 200 and move on?
Yeah, so which one I thought?
I
was
second that.
there? That's fine by me. Everybody okay with that one? 250?
okay.
Rick and Tim are okay with 250.
Okay,
Yeah.
what's next?
Small notice of
Small,
intent. We're above the mean.
I'm okay with keeping that 250.
We agreed to it last time. Let's keep it.
Single family NOI, we have 7.
And that's the one where your inflation numbers made it look like we should be higher, more like 800.
You're not going by inflation.
Yeah,
That's fine.
understood. But so I'm comfortable with keeping that at 750.
Seems just a little high.
Say what?
It does seem a little high compared to the average.
What does?
750.
250, 600, 800, 500, 500, 450.
I guess the towns will catch
I don't
up.
know, I don't remember the conversation why it became 750.
They haven't done them in 13 years. 17
Single
years.
family-
No, well, I don't think they've adjusted these in 13
Yeah, they
years.
probably
So
That could be an in-ground
adjusted.
pool.
It's gonna be a long time before they get adjusted again.
That could be a addition. You know, that could be a house.
I was gonna say.
I'm okay with it.
Is that an ADU? Would that fit in that category for an ADU
Be
as
an
well?
ADU.
Yeah. I don't
Well,
think
and-
that's high.
That's the first jump. So it would be. Used to be 125.
Isn't one of the
That
challenges
used to be
of
125.
doing this is that
Yep.
we don't know if the other towns have already accounted for inflation or anything. like
I
that.
don't think,
Or
I don't
history.
think that matters that
Doesn't
much.
matter.
Look at,
Alright.
I mean, you can look at this. They clearly didn't follow the
Yeah,
staff hours rule because it's not linear.
Well, we don't know what else they're applying on what
Yeah.
they're, yeah, but
So-
my hours and my rate followed inflation. So it was in
They should.
2013, I wasn't making,
sure.
you know, so I think that's a good, you know, we can just pin it to that.
Yeah.
We're good. So 750, are we leaving it? Are we dropping it or
I'm
raising
okay
it?
with it.
Okay, next one. Subdivision, 1,200 to 750, and we have 1,000 at the highest and 645 with the mean.
And why does ours say 1250 and 750?
Is 1250 just for a subdivision, which counts as 2 houses? And then any house beyond that is an extra 750.
Okay, so the first 2 houses are a little cheaper than the additional houses. Per house. Okay,
That's a way to look at it.
Yeah,
okay.
I think that we had that as 1,000 before, at the last meeting, right?
I think it started there, yeah.
We agreed on 1,250. I think you wanted 1,500. I think that was the one.
I think I wanted $1 million, didn't I?
do you want 620, you want to lower this to 625?
What?
I don't think so.
No, I'm happy with that.
Oh, you're saying split it?
I was just trying to make them line up.
Oh, you mean that?
1,250 for 2 subdivision, and then each additional one would be half 1,250.
That makes sense.
But it's not linear, right? If you're going to 3rd, 4th, 5th house,
I know, but
there is extra work involved just because there's more connections, there's more.
but a lot of people look at this critically and they say, what, why, you know?
No,
And
it's,
so I would prefer not to have those questions. So it'd be 650 if you ask me. Anybody,
Okay.
I know
what
it's
if
going
we
down,
made the
Brian, I'm
first 2
sorry, but
houses?
I know someone's gonna give me that question and ask me why.
Make it 1,300 and 650.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, we can't have
No,
1,300.
Walter and I are
That's-
you didn't raise your hand.
No,
Neither did
Why
I.
can't it just be 650 per house?
yeah, that's what Chuck suggested. I'm fine with that.
Okay,
It hurts me, right? Oh, here.
You mean
but that's
6?
different.
but
But now
then,
you're,
25.
yeah.
that's what I wanted to do, but everyone's saying make the other one
I thought you-
1,300.
Not everyone, that was a suggestion.
Right, there you go.
Where
get
did,
that right?
why,
There you go.
I thought it was
Like-
650 per house.
No,
No, six
He
twenty-five.
wants it half of
I see
1250.
Okay.
All right, so commercial NOI. They got 2,009, almost like, so it's 2,000 or 1,000. 1,000's the mean, 2,000's the high end. We're right at the mean. And then the old one used to be just 1,000. So commercial NOI, that would be the newest project that just came into town, 281 Main Street, which is riverfront, commercial, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so as big as you could possibly make a commercial thing, it's only 1,250, and yet for a subdivision, only 2 houses get in for 1,250? And then if you have 4 houses, it's twice 1,250? I'm thinking commercial's getting off cheap if they're a big project.
What's the plus X? Maybe
Let's
the
say it
plus
was,
X.
Jordan's Furniture would come in at that if they were building now, compared to a 4-house subdivision like the one off Howard Ave.
So the plus is, meaning all the rest of the categories that we have on our regulations, which are, wetland delineation, it was $2 a foot. And work within the 25 and 35 foot, work on a bank, work in the resource area, so it's
Yeah,
plus
there's like 5
those.
of those we can get to.
We haven't
Should be able to
addressed
finish
those
this.
yet.
So it doesn't, it doesn't address Martha's concern about it being a bigger property.
Yeah, because we would want, we're gonna decide if those pluses still happen. So we're not dropping them from our regulations, so it's gonna be 1,250 plus.
So to speak to your point, you can always think of extremes where the numbers look funny.
So this one here is
We're
2,000
not building
plus.
buildings, you know, often, if ever. We might, if there's the Eastern Gateway or whatever. But I think for the most part, that's not what we're seeing for commercial. I don't think we should skew the numbers to cover something that doesn't happen.
Okay, so I would be happy if Chuck wrote a plus sign in after the 1,250.
Okay,
Which would be the clue that there are other costs that may be incurred, like delineations
Right.
per feet and
There's
stuff
like
like
5
that.
of them. We'll get to that
Yeah.
next topic.
all right.
All right, next is amendment.
Amended order of conditions. These are all, I mean, I hate to say it, all those are cheap. An amendment is the same as a notice of an intent, except there's no application. So what do we have for notices of intent? But I think maybe we should just look at the mean, but,
250 for a small NOI or
250.
750 for a single family.
so I would say that amended order of condition is pretty low. So 50 for someone's house and 250 or 125 for commercial. That's what it looks like it's saying to me.
So if,
So-
if a small NOI, which is most, is 250, then that should be relatively close to it because it's the same minus a little bit, right? So from your time perspective, it's mostly the same.
But we also want to keep an eye on false numbers.
Right.
And what we have there now is 50 and 125,
Yeah,
so that
we
is
add 50
lower.
to each number,
Say what?
100, 175?
Well, so, which one, this is the,
Middle one's the average.
That's the highest one, 300 is the highest.
okay, so that's the 150.
and then,
Well, we should be at least there.
so would you say add 100 to each one?
Of those two. Yeah.
Rick said add 50.
Add 50.
No,
Anybody have a better idea?
I think we should add 100 to each one of them. Again, that's the average. So we are now tagging the average, and this is our update after
I mean,
whatever, 13, 14 years.
you can justify the work. This is still low based on the work involved, but
Let's add 100. then.
so I don't care if it's 100 or it's 50 that we're
Yeah.
adding to each one, but
Add 100 to
we
each.
need a majority to say go for it.
100. Go for it.
100,
It's all right with me.
good, because that makes it real easy. Okay, next
So
one.
it now reads 150 and 225.
Yeah. Okay. Do we make it 250?
No,
And
it's fine.
okay, single family extension, just extending a notice of intent. It's an hour's worth of work at the most. So some of these numbers don't make any sense to me. So an extension is a request that comes in an email or formal letter. And then I review it for completeness. It doesn't, we're not advertising, we're not letting abutters know about it. It goes on the agenda and then the Conservation Commission reviews it.
So I would argue that if it's an hour, that must be the typical, the most likely.
You jumped in one more thing before you
Sorry,
say that.
You breathed.
But
You shouldn't breathe.
I think that if you're extending it, then if we gave a price to do this project for 3 years, because that's what a permit's worth, and they wanted to extend it for another 3 years, then I have to continually go out there for the next 3. So it may be not just 2 hours of our time. It might be an additional site walk or 2.
What I was gonna point out is, the numbers you're coming up with is typical. But there are times
Hmm.
when you have to revisit things, or they do it wrong and you have to talk them through it again. So it has to be some margin in there to cover the when typical.
Right. And sometimes they haven't started, so the site visits wouldn't be accurate in that
Yeah.
situation.
So I think being a little bit higher is perfectly reasonable. Because it's not always gonna be the way you schedule it to be.
Okay, so
So it says old 25, new 75, is that correct?
Yes.
yeah,
It's just the numbers are a little tiny, so it's hard
Yeah.
for me to actually read them from
That's why
here.
I'm standing up here. I couldn't read them easily enough.
So that's only an hour and a half of Chuck's time, and it sounds like it's often gonna be more like 2 or 3 hours of Chuck's time.
I thought he said it was an hour typically, and so building in the hour.
But then
and a
he
half.
kept going.
so an hour for review, an hour at the meeting, and then some extension. I think that
It's not an hour.
couple-
at the
couple
meeting.
hours.
I hate to argue it down, but it's not an hour at the meeting. It's an hour for maybe a bigger piece of it, but these hearings don't typically go an hour with few
Agreed.
exceptions.
yeah,
So I don't know what you want to say, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that.
So I'd suggest make that one 100, and that easily covers 2 hours of Chuck's time. And that might still be a bargain, but if the old was 25,
Yeah.
that's a big jump to go any higher than 100.
commercial extension,
Same argument, right?
so it should be 125, because the other one was $25 more. So if it's 100, it should be 125, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Did you bump up the second number too? Oh, that's the old number.
When you save this document, it says read only, so you might lose, just save as.
I hope I can save it.
Yeah, just do a save as, go to file.
Yeah, I'm not connected to the server, right? So it's gonna be, I'm gonna,
Save it locally at least, otherwise you lose it.
You can
Take a
just put these
screenshot,
numbers.
Joe.
do you want me to?
Save
Yeah,
as.
yeah.
Somewhere local.
See what it comes up with. Do put it on the desktop.
This is good. We can see everything he works on.
Oh, you didn't see my other hidden files. They're worse. Wait, oh, got it. All right.
Where were we?
Good catch, Sharon.
M.
Single family certificate of compliance.
So we went to $200. I think that's reasonable.
200
right up
only if
there
it's
at the top.
expired, 100 for normal,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So 2 hours.
yeah, I'm good
That's
with
good.
those.
It's
Yeah.
close enough.
We could argue pennies.
Commercial. 200 and 125, I would say was the mean, and 200 would be 2 to 3. We have 150, if expired, 250.
I'm okay with that one.
Yeah. And the last one is the Sanrad. And I'm not sure we agreed on that because it's not highlighted in
Not
red.
in red, yeah.
Lineage. So that's connected to whatever we put on
The other
the
thing.
delineation.
Okay, why don't you save this and bring up the email with those suggested changes?
You just saved it.
There's 5 of them we have to talk about. It's, let me see, section 2, paragraph D and 9, and there's a bunch of letters. And it's F through K are the ones we're talking about changing or not changing. Two, paragraph B, 9 F through K. All right, so most of these are relatively minor changes. I'll come back to them. The big ones are different. Down here, these were $11, which have been there forever. That's the ones that got triggered by Zero Small Lane, by Cedar Swamp. And that's made us say it's time to get back and revisit these. So these, first of all, any questions on what this is? So boundary delineation, so that's laying out the wetland flags. and
This
then-
was the plus.
Right.
Okay.
These
This
things all
stuff is the
together are the
plus.
plus, because it's that fee, and then depending on what they're doing, they may have additional costs.
And it says changes for town bylaw. I assume this is not to go into the April town meeting, or it is to go into the April town meeting?
No.
No.
Yeah,
Sometime in the future.
right.
Okay,
No, we're not doing that. We'll just change our regulations. This is
Ah.
not for the bylaw.
Oh,
Thank
so my mistake, I thought they were counting as a bylaw, but you're right, it's our regulations, either way. it's-
Bylaw says we can set the fees. And the regulations is where we
When you
do
go
it.
on the website, look on the Conservation Commission, and it has the Reading Wetlands Protection. That one, this is that document,
okay.
regulations, yeah. Okay. So the reason these matter, because sometimes the numbers are big. You know, the linear feet can be 1,000 or more feet. We've seen that. And so that's where the numbers get big. The numbers that were here worked fine for small projects, which seems to be where they're originally intended for. And then as the project got big, the numbers got pretty heavy. So this has a little bit of increase and fixes these two egregious problems down there. We added this sentence: applicant must meet 2-to-1 compensatory storage requirement for any fill. So basically,
Well, why don't you go over each one, start with F,
okay.
the boundary line delineation.
So that's the wetland flag line. Per linear foot. It's $2 per linear foot. I mean, a few hundreds is, I'd say, typical for us because it's often around the house. And the maximum here is single family and then anything else. That's on the other sheet that was called commercial, which is anything else. So it's 200 and 1,500 for anything more than one house. But that's the max, doesn't mean anything else in that.
What was it before?
$1.
And the max?
I think it was like
Uh,
125. It was, no, it was $1.25 and the max was 125. And then it was 1,200 for the max for
Yeah,
commercial.
Gotcha. Okay.
I should have put that in parentheses or something. Okay, and then this one is square foot of alterations. Example of that would be Zero Small Lane, where they were gonna have to fill part of it, and then they were replicating whatever, 1,300 square feet or something. That's where that fee would come in, because they pay per square foot of alteration, and it's key here, temporary or permanent. So even if you do it and then, you know, it's fixed or what have you, there's still a fee attached to that.
Did you change that language?
I'm just looking to make sure I didn't know. The rest of the language is the same. H, this is a floodplain. This almost doesn't matter. There really isn't much or any chance of that coming in, but I figured if we're gonna change the others, we keep them in lockstep. So even though I expect to see that one, that's why the dollar change and that sentence on the 2-to-1 storage plan is added there as well. Oops,
We left $11
I
in
see that,
there. huh?
yeah, I mean,
No, I left that there. I changed it.
oh, did you? Okay. 'cause
I'll
I
tell
thought
you,
I put
so let me,
forward,
let me
didn't I?
take over here for a second. So, so we've been pushing this for years that if you work within a vernal pool habitat, we don't allow any work. So when Brian sent this to me and he had it down to $2, I said, we shouldn't have this in there at all because this says we allow work in vernal pool habitat because you can pay $11 a square foot. And at least we're contradicting ourselves. And I said, well, it shouldn't be in here at all,
Yeah.
or we should at least leave it at the high $11. So when you find a vernal pool from the border, we do not allow any work within 100 feet. So vernal pools and habitat is usually 1,000 feet or more. They get pretty interesting when they're on hillsides and things like that. But standard WPA discussions, 100 feet is what we feel comfortable. The community feels comfortable being the jurisdiction. So I did not want to lower this number and I put the question out there, since we don't allow work in that area, are we putting ourselves in a bind here by saying
You can buy your way out of it.
you could buy, I mean, we have to agree to it, I get that. But, you know, even, would you even propose it? I mean, if someone proposed it and then they don't get it, they're gonna say, well, I want my money back because it seemed like I could have paid to work in that area.
So there is a difference between a wetland and a vernal pool in terms of that 100-foot buffer. Vernal, you can't do anything. It's like our 35-foot buffer or 25-foot
Yeah,
buffer, excuse me.
Yeah,
How far?
so a wetland, so as far as like the Wetlands Protection Act and our regulations, a wetland and a scale from 1 to 10, you know, can fluctuate between quality and values between 1 and 10. And we would be pretty concerned if it was a 10 and someone wanted to build something there. But if it was a 6 or a 5, we might say, yeah, you can build there and here's some precautions. But with a vernal pool, we've been taught through classes and whatnot that they're all 10s. And so therefore, it's really hard to allow work in those areas, you know, without altering the habitat or changing. So usually what happens, let's say you have like this blue spotted salamander and someone puts a house right there on the vernal pool. Well, that guy doesn't go and find some other spot. He doesn't go take a hike. He comes back. So he doesn't produce that year. He just goes back home, sees nothing of it. And he comes back the next year. Still a house. Just goes back up the hill. nothing happens. So it's not like they move. It's not like a coyote who's gonna find new land to hang out on. But, so that's what the problem is. So we want to protect these areas when we find them. I think throughout our regulations, we've done that. We protect isolated land subject to flooding as small as 500 square feet, because that's thinking about vernal pools. So again, there's this question here about vernal pools.
If I may.
We're saying no, but we're saying yes.
If I may, 100-foot radius at $11 a square foot is 345,000. Is that going to discourage somebody when land is over $1 million an acre?
I like the way you're thinking, but most people only catch a little corner of it.
Yeah. We charge you for the whole thing or just?
No, just where they're at, where they're building.
Then
Yeah.
that's not enough. Get rid of it.
But I agree with Chuck, though. I don't think we should set a situation where they can do what we don't want them to do for good environmental reasons just by paying more. That encourages somebody with more money, willing to spend more money to be able to do what somebody in different positions
That's what I'm
can't do.
saying. Get rid of I, period.
I agree
I'm
with
fine with that.
Walter.
Yeah.
Delete I.
Me too. I agree. Anybody else?
It sounds like that's what you want to do, so yeah.
I thought it was, I thought it was inconsistent, why is it there?
I agree.
Okay, so then down to J. So this is, more typical for us where they're getting.
This was $11 a square foot or something like that.
$11 square foot. This was the big issue at Cedar Swamp.
So the difference between J and G. G happens in the buffer zone. You're not in the water. You're out of the water. You're in up and dry area. J happens in the wetland.
The actual.
So we're
research.
talking about bridges, replication areas. There's a clause in the Wetlands Protection Act that you can, it says you can, I don't know if it's ever allowed. You can fill up to 5,000 square feet. There's that. That would be some significant project for anyone to agree to that, but a little bite of it, you could. You can fill some areas and replicate them other areas, that was done once here, when I was here.
Down on Main Street, right? Or at least
No,
originally they were planning a replication area on Main
They
Street.
did, 859 Main Street, they went off to the south side, they replicated.
And why are we going down from 11 to 4?
Because $11,
It's hard to.
so the
defend.
numbers went up so much that it wouldn't represent any part of the review that was taking place in the conservation office, so we dropped the number down.
And
No.
then does it create the same problem as I if you include river or stream? Because doesn't riverfront also have similar like 100-foot no build zone?
No, these are buffer zone projects, and so bridges would be one that's always approved, or you can find your way to approve it. In the riverfront area, it does say that we have to allow a house, enough room to repair it, a driveway and a septic system. We need to get to a point where we can't allow those things. So
The
it's
stream
not the
crossing
same.
on Zero Small Lane would have been under this category, right?
The crossing would be under this category, right? And then temporary and permanent for where they wanted to do the replication, because that would be a permanent alteration. It's up to the commission if they say, since you're doing a replication area, we're gonna waive that fee. That's always up to the
Right,
commission
but
what
you have
fees
to
get
have it in
waived.
there before you have a chance to waive it.
Yeah,
So
so
it has to be
it's
there.
not like stacking. You can pick and choose what you want, but when people look through it and when they look at their projects, they want to understand how much they're paying in fees.
And that's the one that in particular raised the red flag, because with the Cedar Swamp project, they were disturbing 43,000 square feet. And so $11 a square foot, that gets your attention.
Yeah, but if someone could build a house, and in this town, there's like no zoning, I don't believe, for driveways. Like you can have a driveway right up to the edge of your property. But in order to get their driveway in, they had to fill in a little bit of the wetland. So that would be a need. They needed a driveway to sell a house, so I can see someone coming in and saying, look, I gotta fill 200 square feet. And so this would take care of that, 200 times 4, and then replicate it somewhere else on the property.
Okay. And then the last one is working bank. That's important for us just because there's so many rivers in Reading, especially when you consider that we consider a perennial stream with the same regulations as rivers, so.
And again, I'm just gonna say bridge. I don't know what else would be working on a bank.
I can think of one, yeah, we have,
Our violation that's been ongoing, working on a bank.
Yeah, well, yeah,
we also have the one,
if you came in with a permit, that would have been,
Right.
yeah.
Should we use the term riverbank?
No, because it
No.
can be a perennial stream. It
That's
doesn't
how
have
they
to be a full
refer to
river.
it.
yeah, that's the way it is.
Well, but the word bank can be anything that says slope.
So bank of a stream or river?
No, I think we should keep this because it's consistent with the language in the state law. That's their whole section is bank, so. I think that would be good to do.
Yeah, I'm good with that number.
Anybody else have a problem, question, comments, in any of these?
Can I just bring up one quick question on I again? I know we said we're gonna take it out. Like hypothetically, so Simon's Way, if there was like a vernal pool near the Recal building, and we have no fee associated with that. I mean, is the town would they be exempt to continue construction of something like that with a vernal pool discovered near Recal?
No,
And okay,
because it's not just a fee thing. We have
Yeah.
regulations throughout
Yep.
our document on things that apply to vernal pools. So that would be what would take precedent, is the fee is secondary.
Well, okay, so what I was going to say is secondarily then, say if there is a need from the town to construct something, there is a vernal pool there. That doesn't it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to outright block that project, correct? Or it's just
Well-
based on our interpretation of the regulations
Well,
first.
I would say, this is my opinion, we'll see what Chuck says.
Sure.
Say that's up to the opinion of whatever commission is sitting at the time. But yes, it absolutely could. I can think of one project for sure where, yes, it was blocking it and the people had to redesign the size of the house, the orientation of the house and everything to get around the 100-foot buffer.
So why I say, maybe I question the out clause versus having an amount per square foot. It kind of goes back to Walter's point. Does that number need to be high to discourage the behavior? But if there is still a need for that building, wouldn't there still need to be a fee associated with the impact that it would cause to losing that vernal pool?
I don't think that the town pays fees, do they, Chuck?
They don't, and this could be anybody. This could be,
Or Eastern Gateway, for
yeah,
example,
this could
which has
be,
buffer.
some important building that had to fit somewhere. What if we were doing like a capped landfill? This is the only company that wants to build on top of it. We don't want a capped landfill. But it's within vernal pool habitat. How would that be handled? But the one thing I want to tell you, Joe, is that the decision about allowing something doesn't happen through the fees. It happens through the Conservation Commission. Anything
Understandable.
outside of the fees could be everything. What is that term? The preponderance of credible evidence. The commission's allowed to make a decision based on how it was presented. And so the town or anyone else could make an argument that they will protect this in such a way that there will be no loss. And if the commission agrees, then the project moves forward.
Yeah, you can imagine a case where, say, they had to erase a vernal pool of a certain size, and as mitigation, they did something 3-4 times as much elsewhere. you know, that's something that the commission would have to consider, I would think, even though I'd be inclined to not go there. But yeah, I agree with Chuck. There are
Okay.
always conditions.
So
And
without it being a fee, there would still be another condition associated with that would have a tangible cost
no,
to the applicant.
No, it's not a cost. It's a decision the commission would make as to whether they could go forward, and if so, what mitigation, if anything, was required.
yeah, we couldn't levy a cost because it's not in our regulations. The only thing the commission could do that's kind of like a cost would be mitigation. And they could think of mitigation things that would help, you know?
So I would be, I mean, I don't have a vote here, but I would be less inclined to actually take out this fee associated with the vernal pool and instead increase it, only because, our future projects within this town, if a vernal pool is discovered, there's less buildable land that we would be working with. And if we do start to build on land that currently isn't being built on, we are going to be encroaching more on conservation type spaces. And so, while we don't want to encourage this with a low fee, I think there still needs to be at least some sort of tangible recovery if proper mitigation can't be
So the
determined.
problem I have with that, though, is by having any fee, you do imply that somebody who wanted to spend enough money could get around the fact that we just want to protect the rental pools, right? And we certainly don't want it to be where you could buy something as valuable as a
course.
vernal pool.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but if we somehow approved it, wouldn't the state step in and unapprove it?
They may,
They might or may not. It depends on the overall picture.
and abutters may appeal and they
Yeah,
would
Right.
That's what-
bring it to their attention.
They could take the power away from us.
Which is the point Chuck made. It's not all about the fee. It's the
No,
rest of the
no, no.
regulations that have to be met.
Fee has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I don't know if I heard you correctly, but you're saying land is becoming scarce, so there may be more situations where we would need to approve work within the 100-foot buffer zone. I would
Correct.
say that would be exactly why we want to have strong regulations to keep us out of those areas, because once you lose them, they're gone forever. And, we start living in Pottersville.
Okay.
Can we put it in as under special circumstances, the commission can decide up to $11 something?
Less is
No,
more.
again, I think taking it
Well,
out,
you're getting over my head. I don't know, maybe that might be allowed, but we need to get an attorney on this commission.
Less is more, get it out.
That's fair.
if you put a value on it, somebody can always be willing to pay more. But
I mean, I think
I'm looking at
it's been
cases
for a
where
long
like the,
time, and we've said no for a long time.
Yeah.
So no one,
are
but
we,
we didn't get a big, we didn't have a major project in vernal pool area. So we did have Small Lane, which caught the ire of a developer who had enough money to hire a few lawyers, and we found out about that. I mean, I'd hate to find out about the vernal pool situation. It just seems to be contradictory to saying no work within the 100-foot buffer zone of a vernal pool.
well, again, if you want to base it on bedrock, what are the interests that are up in the beginning of the law, right? We're supposed to protect those interests. So bringing in money is not one of those interests. So for us to say, pay a lot of money, you can override the other interests, doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and Joe, and by taking it out, it doesn't mean that the commission can't be presented with a project that's in vernal pool habitat and there's a project approved. That has nothing to do with paying for it. We do lose that, and the only thing that could recover it was the compensation of mitigation. So I don't know what you would think of.
I'm looking at situations where the town could put undue pressure on the Conservation Commission to approve a project in the best interest of the town without having any sort of
100%
monetary impact.
absolutely. And there's many retired Conservation Commission member that met that same, motivation. And there's a lot, and you're absolutely right. I mean, the best way to do, we don't have a project here, and I don't know if anyone's, I mean, most of our vernal pools are in North and South Cedar Swamp.
Right.
So there's a lot, other place, town forest, for instance, things like that. I hear what you're saying. It's a problem. That could be a problem for everyone sitting here, for sure.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you.
Okay, so I think we're okay with the spreadsheet. We're okay with these changes that we just discussed.
So we want to, so this just came up tonight, so we're not voting on this.
But you have to put an amended version out and then vote on.
Yeah.
that version
Get it on the agenda.
For next
So we
meeting.
don't want to take a vote at all because
Okay,
so we just,
and same with the spreadsheet. We amended that, so that'll also have to go up, review.
put that on the agenda next time
Next one.
and have a finalized.
Let's try
spreadsheet
not
on
to
that.
reopen it again.
Then we can all think about this and maybe I can ask around. I don't have opportunity to talk to town council, but someone might. You anybody on your Rolodex?
What, environmental lawyers? I can think of one.
I know one too, yeah. Okay,
I may actually reach out there too,
we're getting close to
the witching hour.
the witching hour, but this was good to go through this. Getting closer here.
So we knocked off the tree policy. Now we play with the fees. And the next big thing, I think, is revisiting the regulations as a whole. Just in reading them over the time I've been on it, there are places where changes should be made, clarify things. We did with passive that already, but clarify things, close loopholes, things of that nature. I'm not saying change the intent of it or anything, obviously, but the very least, you should be familiar with our cut, the town's cut at the regulations. It's much smaller than the state ones. In a lot of cases, though, what it does is says, basically, we agree with the state this, we agree with the state that. But especially where it's different, you need to know what the differences are because some of them are important. Like the fact that we treat streams as rivers, the fact that minor project, we don't allow above ground pools. In-ground pools as minor for us, that's a NOI. There are things that you should be familiar with by now. The other thing I want to say as far as cutting down the size of the effort, even the state law, a lot of that covers coastal fisheries, saltwater marshes. Here we have freshwater wetlands and rivers. It's two sections. They're not tiny sections, but it is a smaller bite of the pie. So there'll be a quiz next week. Okay, is there now anything we need to discuss before we adjourn? Since I
We didn't
missed the
vote
meeting.
on any of this. We need a
No.
motion.
No,
No?
because we're gonna put out the updated ones
And
and then
vote
vote on the
updated
updated.
ones.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think we're ready to see the final version.
Okay,
What I'm about to say, I didn't discover until Monday, when I looked at the town charter, the new revised one. Section 8.12.1 calls for removal of committee members. And the committee can vote on removing any particular member. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody here, but if you go to our website,
what's that red dot on my chest?
No, I know who he's talking about. Go, wait a minute, let him talk.
so if you go to our website, we have a voting member in the 2+ years I've been involved. I never met the person. I've never seen the person. I saw him once, saw that person, not him or her. I saw it on the screen once.
Okay,
I'd like to discuss that next meeting.
So I reached out to the clerk and she said that's been taken care of. So we took him down. He had resigned. It just didn't catch up to
Oh,
So there's an open space, so maybe you don't have to invoke that, which I wouldn't do unless I got permission from the town manager or somebody higher up than my position, because I don't think that, what I've been told is the mission can't kick someone off because you were put on by the select board. It's the select board's responsibility to take people off. We could request it,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah. But it goes through them,
So we have an open position,
So, is,
open voting position.
yeah.
Yes.
okay. Yeah, that I would say that I noticed that confusion too when I applied for the commission, that there was only one open voting position, but now it appears that there were two about a year ago. Is that what
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
hearing here? I know there was a name that came up on one of the
The time that I've
meeting
been on
minutes.
this, there have been some names on there that weren't accurate. There was a woman who was put on it, didn't have any interest in being on it, and she never showed for anything, but her name stayed on there for a long time. As Chuck said, these things take quite a while.
I think
to
that's
update
what,
at times.
because, the select board are doing one thing, and here we have boots on the ground, seeing people not showing up and saying, hey, this is not what I want to do. We get two different results on that, and we don't take care of that part of the webpage.
So can you go to the select board, excuse me, and appoint Mr. Joseph Fleury as a voting member?
I think he has to go through the same process as everyone
Same
else. Wait
process.
until
Yeah,
his
it's a,
next
I think,
meeting and
I think I resigned as the associate and I would have to just reapply as a member, and that gets voted on separately in front of the select board. I think that's happened a couple of
And
times.
then we would not allow it.
I'm rooting
Ex-
for you, Joe.
Exactly. No, I'm afraid of Brian as chair.
they do, I don't know if they would do, sometimes they do special, like what you're saying, but
They do. Yeah.
most part, there's that vast committee interview.
Yeah. And sometimes more than one.
So Joe, for the future, is something you're interested in doing?
Yeah, I would definitely say yes. So, I can talk offline with Chuck on that and just confirm, but just to make sure that there's a position open, and I would be happy to talk to the select board or the VASC on that and
Okay.
have it happen.
So anything else before we adjourn?
Happy ending, thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn at 8:44?
I move to adjourn at 8:44.
Second, all in favor?
Yay.
All right, good night, everyone.
Night, everyone.
Yeah, see those?
Well, wasn't the second